In search of immortality, you lost the most important thing: life itself. Tribal leaders, kings, alchemists, modern scientists, for centuries they have tried to achieve one single goal: immortality. Thousands of scientific studies have been conducted in attempts to tame death. Today, this seems to us like something that doesn't concern us. But if you strip away the pathos and generalize, immortality is simply the ultimate goal. And each of us, right now, is playing the exact same game. We replace the word immortality with career, success, the perfect future, or tomorrow. We put everything on the line, and in the process, we lose our real life in just the same way. And if you think that this is a problem of modern people, gadgets, and capitalism, you are mistaken. The story you will hear today was written down 4,000 years ago on clay tablets. Yet it is one in which each of us will recognize themselves. Humanity was putting the puzzle of this story together, quite literally, piece by piece. In 1849, archaeologist Austin Henry Layard was conducting excavations during which they discovered the Assyrian city of Nineveh, where the cuneiform library of King Ashurbanipal, the largest library of the ancient world, was found. This library brought many important stories into our culture and allowed scientists to answer many questions. On December 3, 1872, George Smith announced that he had discovered a flood myth similar to the one set forth in the Bible. As it turned out later, George Smith had discovered just one part out of 12 of one of the largest cuneiform epics in our entire history. Deciphering the tablets from the ancient Akkadian language and searching for the missing parts took a century and a half. The final lines were discovered and deciphered in 2015. This epic is the first example of a person's personal growth, their transformation through gained friendship, severe trials, and losses. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a demigod king who lost his only friend and went mad on a quest for eternal life. The king of Uruk, a demigod, a mighty warrior, and a true nightmare for his people. Such was Gilgamesh at the beginning of the epic. The inhabitants of Uruk prayed to the gods to help them subdue the king, because they themselves could do nothing against the demigod. And the king of the gods, Anu, agreed to help the poor inhabitants. He instructed the goddess Aruru to create a creature similar in energy and strength to Gilgamesh, and she created Enkidu. His task was either to subdue the king or to defeat him. Enkidu was immediately born an adult, but not in the city, but among animals. And one day, hunters noticed him. He hindered them from hunting by protecting the animals, pulling them out of traps, breaking snares. Thus, rumors reached Uruk about a very strong man living among animals. Gilgamesh was intrigued by this story. He sent the beautiful harlot Shamhat, a priestess of the love goddess Ishtar, to seduce Enkidu and bring him to the city. She successfully completed the task. At that moment, after intimacy with Shamhat, Enkidu lost part of his strength. He lost his wild animal strength. But in return, he gained something much more important: human reason. Initially, Aruru created him with a single goal, and for this, there was no need to endow him with reason or human feelings. But Shamhat's tenderness changed the course of events. Shamhat led him to the city, and so Enkidu stood in Gilgamesh's way to a stranger's house, in which he wanted to possess another man's bride. The king had made himself the right of the first night in Uruk, and regularly used this right. Yes, intoxicated by his power, he did whatever his heart desired. A battle began between them, and the king met a warrior equal to him for the very first time. As a result of the fight, Enkidu submitted to the king. But respect emerged between them, and so began their friendship. Most likely, if Gilgamesh had gone in search of Enkidu himself and met him before Shamhat, he would have lost this fight. How it was all actually planned by the king of the gods Anu, no one, of course, knows. After their friendship began, Gilgamesh ceased to be a nightmare for the inhabitants of Uruk. Gilgamesh proposed performing their first joint heroic deed, to kill Humbaba, the guardian of the cedar forest. Enkidu tried to dissuade his friend, saying that Humbaba was very strong and protected by the god Enlil, but Gilgamesh convinced him otherwise. And here, in fact, Gilgamesh got lucky again, just like in the battle with Enkidu. The sun god Shamash came to their aid and sent strong winds against Humbaba, blinding him. Although probably the main stroke of luck for Gilgamesh was, after all, gaining a friend who became a brother to him. The news of their resounding victory reached even the gods, and the goddess Ishtar wanted Gilgamesh to become her husband. But Gilgamesh brutally and publicly insulted Ishtar, listing all of her former lovers and the misfortunes she brought upon them. This audacity infuriated the goddess, and she asked her father, the king of the gods Anu, to send the bull of heaven to earth. But Anu refused because the bull would cause too much destruction. Then the enraged Ishtar said she would smash the gates of the underworld and release all the dead. The blackmail worked, and Anu sent the bull of heaven to earth. You could say the constellation Taurus itself crashed down upon Uruk. Its breath dried up the rivers. Each of its roars tore the earth apart, swallowing hundreds of people alive. Gilgamesh and Enkidu began to fight it, and Enkidu grabbed the bull by the horns and held it long enough for Gilgamesh to deal the death blow. After that, Enkidu ripped out the bull's heart and threw it in Ishtar's face. After the second resounding victory of what were now two brothers, the god Enlil, protector of Humbaba, called a council and demanded that one of the brothers perish. The gods decided that Enkidu must die, and a sickness overcame him. He was sick for 12 days and regretted only that he was dying in bed and not in battle. Gilgamesh truly mourned his brother. He wandered through the desert, stopped shaving and cutting his hair, and began to resemble Enkidu when he lived among animals. The strongest man on earth, a king in golden robes, abandons his throne, dresses in animal skins, and flees into the desert out of horror and grief. In his moment of mourning, he realized that he was terrified of death, and since death had taken his equal, it would take him too. And so began his search for immortality. Gilgamesh left Uruk and went in search of Utnapishtim. Utnapishtim and his wife were the first and only humans to whom the gods granted immortality. The path to Utnapishtim was far from easy. Gilgamesh reached the edge of the world where, at the foot of Mount Mashu, whose base goes down into the underworld, and its rocky peaks into the sky, there was a single passageway meant only for the sun god Shamash, who passed through this corridor every day, pulling the sun behind him. At the passageway, guards awaited Gilgamesh, scorpions with human faces. They warned Gilgamesh that behind these gates lay a dark corridor where fierce heat alternates with the bitterest cold. How calmly Gilgamesh received this information commanded their respect, and they opened the gates before him. For a whole day and night, Gilgamesh walked through the dark corridor in agony. Having passed through the corridor, he entered a beautiful grove in which the trees and their fruits were made of precious stones. There, the king was met by the witch Siduri, the goddess of wisdom, and an alewife by the sea who threw feasts for the gods. Having listened to Gilgamesh, Siduri gave a piece of advice that probably each of us ought to hear. She said, "The gods, when creating humans, immediately determined the cycle of life and death. There is no need to seek eternal life. You need to enjoy the most precious thing that will never return, the time of your life. Eat delicious food, put on beautiful, bright clothes, enjoy the sunrises and sunsets, Experience joy from a child holding your hand. Let music and dancing fill your home. Make your every single day joyful. Give your wife pleasure in your embrace. Gilgamesh was grief-stricken and exhausted by the hard journey, so he could not accept her advice. Then Siduri said that Utnapishtim lived on the other side of the Sea of Death, and only the ferryman Uruk, who had gone into the neighboring forest to hunt a serpent, could carry him across it. Gilgamesh went into that forest and killed the serpent, found Uruk, and asked to be ferried to the other shore. Uruk gave him 120 poles. Pushing off with them, he had to cross the waters of death, replacing every broken pole with a new one. Touching the destructive surface of the waters with his hands threatened death. Having crossed to the other shore, Gilgamesh finally met Utnapishtim, and here disappointment awaited him. Utnapishtim told his story and made it clear that the gods would never repeat such a thing again. Utnapishtim also explained that the role of a king lies in maintaining harmony between gods and humans. The pursuit of immortality distracted Gilgamesh from this goal. He told Gilgamesh that his search for immortality had only led to the opposite result. You labored without sleep, and what did that give you? You exhaust yourself with endless labor, filling yourself with pain, bringing the end of your life closer. You left your city, left your life. In search of immortality, you lost the most important thing, life itself. He challenged Gilgamesh to pass a test. He said that perhaps if he conquered the need for sleep, then maybe he would conquer death as well, suggesting he try not to sleep for 6 days and 7 nights. But the exhausted Gilgamesh could not handle this task and slept for 7 days. Utnapishtim, of course, knew he wouldn't handle it. He wanted to demonstrate that even a demigod king cannot control anything, not even his own sleep. So what is there to say about immortality then? Saddened, he began to prepare for the return journey. Utnapishtim's wife took pity and persuaded her husband not to let their guest go empty-handed. And they told him about a plant that grants youth, which grows at the bottom of the sea. Gilgamesh retrieved it, and Uruk ferried him back across the waters of death. On the way to Uruk, while Gilgamesh was washing himself, a snake stole this plant, and, shedding its old skin, slithered away. The gods and nature itself, after all, did not allow him to bring his chance at immortality home. Completely disappointed, Gilgamesh continued his journey home with only a sense of his own helplessness. Standing on the border of his city, he finally realized both the words of Siduri and the words of Utnapishtim. From then on, Gilgamesh thought no more of death and became a true, powerful king for his people. He was respected by everyone within the city walls, and he met his death calmly and proudly. This is the kind of story, from a nightmare of the people to a loyal friend and an excellent, kind king, that was found in the library of Ashurbanipal in the city of Nineveh. The epic became truly instructive, and I think you have already found analogies with a large number of stories in modern cinema. Gilgamesh and Enkidu are the first buddy movie/partner archetype in history, and the entire path to immortality and the loss of the flower is a classic finale of the road movie genre, where the hero understands at the end that the main thing is the journey, not the destination. So know that the progenitor of all this was Gilgamesh. Even the search for immortality is not worth a lost life. I really liked this thought, and I would be happy to discuss it with you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and see you soon.